Now we're going to turn to Albany, where Democrats, as we speak in the New York State Assembly, they're discussing a move to possibly push out longtime leader Sheldon Silver. Now, 70-year-old Silver, arrested last week, as you know, on federal corruption charges. Officials say he took more than $4 million in payoffs and kickbacks. Democratic lawmakers deliberated for 5 hours last night, and closed-door talks didn't produce a decision, but again, they went behind closed doors today. An increasing number of lawmakers, we hear, are saying that Silver's got to step down, and there are reports that Silver has lost the support of the majority of the Democrats in the Assembly, and that's a change from a little over a day ago. Silver says he believes he'll be vindicated of the charges. Now, here again are a look at some of the names that could be possible successors here. Joseph Morial is Majority Leader. Carl Heastie, Joseph Lenthal, and Catherine Nolan, as well as Keith Wright, more of a familiar name from the city. All right, Andrew, what are we hearing? Forget about the how they do it and the process. Apparently support for them, seemingly by the hour, has ebbed back, right?
Right, and it looks like this will play out in one of three ways. The first way is that they come up with an interim speaker. And right now there are reports coming out of Albany that Morial, who is a deputy of Sheldon Silver, the majority leader, will wind up as the interim speaker until they actually push this off, probably until after the budget's done. And so he would run the caucus for the time being, and then they would figure this all out later on. The second possibility is they just figure out a way to replace Silver and change the Assembly Speaker altogether. The third possibility is that nothing happens, and they just sort of continue operating as a caucus with Silver as the titular head of the Democrats in the Assembly, even though he wouldn't have a whole lot of power. There's a problem in all of this, though, which is if Silver's not willing to resign as Assembly Speaker, there are big questions about how they can actually kick him out. Speakers are elected for 2-year terms. It's not like other parliamentary bodies where they just get a vote of no confidence, or if a majority say we want somebody else in the job, that's what happens. That would probably end up in the courts. It's probably best for Assembly Democrats if Silver resigns at some point, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen.
The problem, as Andrew accurately described it, Dom, is if you're Sheldon Silver right now, there's no incentive to step down. This is the leverage you've got here. Moreover, the way it works, as Andrew said, is if you're the Speaker, you run the Rules Committee. You decide what comes up for a vote and what doesn't. You don't want something coming for a vote, you don't. It cannot be exaggerated how much power the Speaker has here in the Assembly. And for a guy who there's no upside for him to step down here, if you want to use it from a crass political standpoint for negotiating whatever deal he could get, this thing's going to get even more ugly.
Well,
why would he step down? There's no point to it for him.
Well, I've said all along that he probably wouldn't step down, because you want to go to court in a position of strength rather than weakness. And if you're no longer the Speaker, then you don't have the strength. It's weakness. But Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver is done. He's done. My prediction, by the end of the week, he will no longer be the Speaker. The only argument that's taking place as of right now, if I'm one of the Democrats, Keith Wright, for example, and the reason why I say he's done, because the governor, through back doors, without directly criticizing Silver, is going like this.
Okay, but Keith Wright, I believe you're right, Don. No, okay. But here's my point. Again, the way that it works, if you're Sheldon Silver, you can force them to take you to court before you go away. What possible incentive do you have? Because Preet Bharara is going for you no matter what, right? What possible incentive do you have? Forget that it's the right thing to do, to step down or give up your speakership. You could, and we're going to get into this next part in a second, but if Albany devolves into chaos, right, and we've seen this happen before, and there's this huge vacuum of leadership right now, right, that makes him even more beautiful, because he was the one who at least could make the trains run on time.
But we're going into uncharted waters, and it's my belief that I believe the 105 Assembly members, the Democrats, they can take another vote. Silver was just voted, reaffirmed as Speaker, but that's not even a sticking point as of right now. The sticking point is, if you're one of those Democrats in contention for Silver's job, you're not going to let the majority leader just become the interim Speaker. You would be stupid to do that, because once he's interim Speaker, guess what? he's going to simply move into the role of speaker. And he's going to build relationships, build on power, and that's going to be it. And then there's going to be another battle, because then you don't have anybody from New York City. New York City won't be in power.
It's the first time since
1911, I think.
And so
it would have been 100 years, just so you know, we're talking about that somebody outside of the 5 boroughs would have been the head of the assembly.
But Richard, I say look at Keith Wright, the Manhattan Democratic leader. Keith Wright is tight with Governor Cuomo. Keith Wright was one of the Democrats that came out yesterday, unheard of, and said, look, you got to go. Trust me. Keith Wright is not saying that without the governor's blessing.
All of this fracturing, first of all, it gives you some idea of how and why Shelley Silver has been able to hold on to power for as long as he has.
Good point.
It's because it all turns into these little fiefdoms and all these little food fights, and he's been able to control that, and that shows you how much power he's had, and it also shows you why Democrats, over the years, throughout all of the different scandals and problems that Shelley Silver's had, have kept coming back to Shelley Silver. At least he keeps order in the field. I'm just going to throw one more thing. Like, you say he's dead. I say, show me the body. Yeah. I will believe it when I see it, only because he has gotten his head out of the news so many times.
Pull the tape by the end of the week. He's done.
I just don't think it's as easy to force him out as you think it is.
Watch and see. He's done. The only battle right now is the next power player.
Okay, well,
that's the battle.
How about I'll be the naive guy at the table? The ugliness of Albany got peeled back a little bit. So the public has an idea, even if they don't follow the details like we do, they say, hold on a second. A guy who's one of the 3 guys in the room, he's an attorney maybe 1 day a week, and he goes into a fund that we the taxpayers fund here, and he decides to basically set up a doc here to go fund a firm for him that'll line his pockets with millions of dollars. What's wrong with this picture? You hear words of fraud, extortion, and all the rest here. He'll have his day in court. But my point, again, I'll be the naive guy, and you 2 guys can laugh. You little snide little laughs at me. but I think we've hit a tipping point where people say, no more of this.
But
this is such a filthy system. It's got to be better.
I don't think we hit a tipping point. I know my friend Richard Brodsky takes great exception when I say this.
He's having a seizure here, just listening to this, wherever he is.
But it's my contention that the public knows that there are quite a few crooks in Albany. So this is not a tipping point.
But it's not
the public already knows.
The system encourages.
The system. When I say crooks, I mean the system as well. I've said this in front of Brodsky. He disagrees with me. You could take out half of Albany in handcuffs.
You're going to vote.
You're so lucky.
You're going to vote to reduce your own power. You're going to vote to reduce the amount of money that you can make. You're actually going to take a vote that hurts you in the long run.
I'll tell you what's different.
Nobody's going to do that.
What's different is you have a U.S. attorney right now who people thought, oh, he was making some headlines going after Cuomo and Moreland. But nobody thinks they're smarter than Shelley Silver. And if Shelley Silver can be taken down, you know some of those mutts there in Albany are saying, I ain't as smart as that guy. I don't have his power base. I don't have his discretion for lose. I can't do that. I'm in trouble. Now, please, you made a career out of Pedro Espada. I can go up and down the line here of dumb, dumber, and dumbest, and we'll be here for an hour. My point is, I think we're tired of this. There's got to be a better system, and I think the governor, for all his exposure on Moreland potentially, there's an opening for him to get what he wants and to further weaken both the Assembly and Senate by trying to drive through what will be an immensely politically popular thing with the public to change the rules of Albany. Somebody's going to focus
It's a beautiful script for a Frank Capra movie that you just laid out, but that ain't Albany.
The hell with you. All right. I tried, everyone. Okay, trust me, we're going to follow up on this. And literally, we could be even getting some news later on in the evening on this. And you heard it from Dominic. Let's remind him on Friday, because he completely forgets it when he's wrong on those rare occasions. He says he's done. I'm with Andrew. I say don't bury him just yet.
With a fork in him.
All right, I'll remember that one. The Q, 6:32. Let's circle that one. All right, we come back here. 2 of Andrew's favorite guys, the Koch brothers. They're pouring out boku bucks here, and they have an idea of what they want to get for return on investment. Call it the presidency. We'll have a look at how they're dishing out more than $800 million for 2016.